Good evening and welcome to the 6:15 with me, Kejang Henry at TMB with Flag Off with our top stories. ELECAM's electoral board is fine-tuning strategies to address on-the-ground challenges. Meeting this August 12 in Yaoundé, the board discussed measures to strengthen electoral stakeholders and ensure a smooth voting process. And all presidential hopefuls must deposit 30 million francs CFA with the Treasury to validate their candidacy. And of course, that is what the law says. But if a candidate is disqualified, is the sum refunded or forfeited? We will delve into Cameroon's electoral code for the answer on what happens to the 30 million francs caution. And as Cameroon edges closer to its 2025 presidential polls, journalists are being armed with tools to uphold human rights while reporting under pressure. A Free the UN-backed workshop launched August 12 focused on tackling hate speech, protecting press freedom, and ensuring personal safety. Top stories. Thanks and welcome to join me. You can hook up with us on our respective platforms on Canal International. We begin from Yaoundé, where Elections Management Body, ELECAM, and of course its electoral board are fine-tuning strategies to address on-the-ground problems that might erupt during the October 12 presidential polls. The board discussed issues this day to strengthen electoral stakeholders and ensure the smooth voting process. Hyacinth Chair reports from Yaoundé.
Following the close of deliberations by the Constitutional Council, the Electoral Board, meeting in its fourth session as of right, is focused on acknowledging and adopting the decisions rendered by the Council in view of the October 12, 2025 presidential election. Meeting at the ELECAM's headquarters this August 12 in Yaoundé, the board takes stock of few realities to seek solutions where challenges prevail.
Conducting an in-depth analysis of the recommendation made by each member of the Electoral Board with regard to the difficulties or challenges identified in the field. These are contained in mission reports from the field trip that was carried out across our regional branches. While these reports provide a general assessment of the level of operational preparedness, they will also serve as a guideline for any adjustments to our strategic plan of action in the next phase of the electoral cycle.
Eno Abrams Igbe, in his opening address, also laid emphasis on the strengthening of various stakeholders to ensure a smooth process.
We shall examine and validate various capacity building programs for ELECAM staff, media professionals, and civil society organizations. In a constantly changing political and technological environment, investing in the continuous training and empowerment of our staff is no longer an option, but a necessity.
The ELECAM Board Chair also announces the holding of a national consultation forum between the electoral body and other actors before the start of campaign, creating an inclusive and constructive dialogue platform between political parties, the civil society, the media, traditional, administrative and religious authorities, as well as rates, with the goal of ensuring a credible, secured and peaceful election all over the national territory.
With the Treasury to validate their candidacy, at least that is what the electoral law says. But if a candidate is disqualified, what becomes of that money? Is it refunded or forfeited? Now let's delve back into the electoral code and answer these questions on what happened to the 30 million francs caution.
Doubts continue to linger as to whether or not the 30 million CFA francs caution deposited at the state's treasury during the process of filing in candidatures to run for the presidential election is refundable. The Electoral Code in its section 147 is clear on the subject. According to the Section 147, Sub 1, the deposit shall be refunded to candidates who withdraw their candidacies before the printing of ballot papers upon the presentation of receipt of payment of such deposit, plus a withdrawal certificate established by the Director General of Elections. Candidates who obtain at least 10% of the valid vote cast shall regain the caution package upon the presentation of a certificate of the valid votes issued by the Constitutional Council and having the value of a payment order. Section 147, Sub 2, clearly stipulates that in cases other than those specified, the deposit shall remain in the state's treasury, and therefore, going by the law, all candidates disqualified from the presidential race who had paid in the 30 million CFA francs will have to erase any hopes of getting the money back from the state's treasury.
Well, thanks very much, Hyacinthia, for that clarification, as there were some grey areas in the process. Now, the National Citizens Movement of Cameroon has planted its flag in the littoral region, precisely in Douala, and of course officially opening the office to boost support for their presidential candidate, Jacques Bouga-Hagby. More in the report.
The election period has often intensified existing challenges, with media professionals facing threats to their safety and freedom of expression.
This is a period which has issues of human rights, democracy, promotion of peace to be brought into context. And journalists have a very important role to play in this process. Now, if we cannot share our experiences, if we cannot sit together to say, okay, how do we contribute to a peaceful, credible process, then we are not playing our role as journalists.
A 3-day workshop that kicked off August 12, organized by the United Nations, aimed to promote human rights during the electoral period.
The journalist must work in context. It is not a generalized reporting. It's a specific reporting, because elections period are sensitive periods. And so when you report in elections period, you are not reporting like in any normal context where you just carry information and put the ABCs together and report them.
The training is designed to equip journalists with tools to uphold professionalism amid these challenges. The training covered topics such as civil and political rights, identifying and reporting rights violations, maintaining journalistic integrity, avoiding hate speech, fake news and manipulation, ensuring personal safety and data security.
This workshop will go a long way to give me that special skill to see how to do my report, to represent the facts while ensuring that there is peace.
If the journalist cannot play his role, seek information, analyze the information, diffuse the information in a truthful manner, then people cannot make informed choices. So everything is about human rights.
With the 2025 elections just around the corner, journalists will spend 3 days mastering techniques on how to apply human rights aspects in their reporting. The goal is to ensure that they report the facts accurately and without bias. It should be noted, access to reliable sources is further hampered by fear of reprisals, pushing some reporters to self-censor or abandon critical stories altogether.
Story for that makes some Morin reporting there on the journalists who are taking stock of human rights reporting ahead of the presidential election. And we come back to this story where the National Citizens Movement for Cameroon has planted its flag in Douala, littoral region, officially opening the regional office to boost support for the presidential candidate Jacques Bouga-Hagby. Once more in the report.
The National Citizens Movement of Cameroon, MCNC, has officially launched its littoral regional office, marking a significant step in its campaign for the upcoming presidential election scheduled for October 12, 2025. The inauguration ceremony held in Douala was presided over by MCNC presidential candidate Jacques Bouga-Hagby, who emphasized the party's commitment to mobilizing support across the region.
J'aimerais que cette écharpe symbolise toutes les responsabilités qui pèsent sur vous.
During the event, 5 key officials were installed, a regional director and 4 divisional heads representing Vouri, Cam, Mongo, and Sanaga Maritime. Their primary objective is to galvanize grassroots support and ensure a robust presence of MCNC in the littoral region.
Mobiliser ensuite au plan volumétrique pour parvenir à la victoire au 12 octobre prochain.
C'est avant tout l'équipe du peuple camerounais, parce que nous accueillons tout le monde, comme vous avez vu.
Jacques Boga Hagbe, an economist and former International Monetary Fund official, has been endorsed as the MCNC's presidential candidate. His campaign focuses on economic reform, transparency, and national unity. Following the establishment of the Littoral Office, the MCNC plans to expand its organizational structure to Northwest and Southwest regions, aiming to strengthen its national outreach ahead of the elections.
Thanks very much, Maureen. The HND qualification has come under scrutiny. And now with this year's poor results in HND and BTS examinations, there are fresh doubts over the emergence or relevance of these certificates. And so critics are arguing that they no longer provide the necessary measures, or they don't no longer equipped the graduates with the necessary skills needed in the job market. Ambo Gladys Dibank talked to some experts and put this report.
On these shelves and stands, an array of made in Cameroon goods exhibited, amongst them artisanal crafts, processed food and cosmetics, many of which are yet to take full advantage of the tariff breaks offered under the Economic Partnership Agreement. The EPA signed between Cameroon and the European Union was designed to give local products easier access to the European market, but officials say many business owners still lack the technical knowledge to benefit. Small and medium-sized enterprises face challenges such as tax constraints, limited financing, and ignorance of the agreement's existence. Bringing in experts was essential to train them on its benefits from international competitiveness.
The entrepreneur that we are coming here today to be aware of all the advantages we can get from this agreement signed by Cameroon since 2014.
To bridge the gap, the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises convened an information and awareness workshop. The session brought together producers, exporters and trade experts to explain the agreement's provisions and the steps required to comply with European market regulations. Many of these businesses do not fully understand how to manage the proof of origin, which is necessary to benefit from preferential terms. At the level of customs duties, one business operator alone cannot accumulate several tariff preferences. Most of them lack adequate knowledge of the various opportunities provided by the agreement.
In this workshop, we will now be very prompt to participate to every workshop that can be organized regarding that side of European Union, the accord with European Union and Cameroon.
Participants were reminded that a solid grasp of the EPA's rules, from product standards to custom documentation, is essential if Cameroonian goods are to compete abroad. Meanwhile, officials emphasize that with the right knowledge and preparation, more made in Cameroon products could soon find their way onto shelves in Europe, boosting the country's exports and supporting small business growth.
I'm glad it's reporting there. We're very sorry for that mix-up. We don't really know what is happening. The machines are jumping. But then we move over, still in Douala, and this time in Boadibou, with a vision and mission that is out. Of course, this is going to be to safeguard the tradition and customs of the people of Boom in the northwest region of the country. Ambo Gladys report.
The souls from the city's far corners, they gathered for the inaugural Boom Community Jamboree, an event showcasing traditional dances, culinary arts, and the rich history of their people. The gathering also carried a special message from their palace in the Boyo division of the Northwest region, a call to protect and promote their cultural identity.
The Boom sons and daughters here in the Littoral region gathered today for their first edition of the Cultural Jamboree. to showcase their talent, to remind themselves of their roots, to remind themselves of their intangible and tangible cultural heritage that will be existing for generations. And we are here today to present it to the world and also pass it down to the next generation that is coming forth.
From the palace is this, that any young youth should bring together the son and the daughter to the gathering so that they should learn how to live in the gathering socially.
Apart from being a display of heritage, the celebration was also a platform to mobilize support for the construction of a new community hall in Boadibo, Bonaberi, in the Douala 4 subdivision. The planned facility will include a museum to safeguard cultural artifacts for future generations.
We are here this evening to promote our culture and to raise funds to construct our multi-purpose hall, because with time we realize that this hall is already small to contain of the population of Boom. So we got a new place around Boadibo where it's bigger. I will also call not only the Douala branch but the other branches to come and support the project.
Multi-purpose center, and that multi-purpose center will be 2-story. The story will make up with this first floor will be made up of a hall of capacity 600 with 2 workshops, 1 museum, because the Boom people need to have a museum, and so to show that, to preserve our culture.
Organizers say the jamboree is also about passing down knowledge. Elders are keen to ensure that the younger generation learn about the customs and values of their ancestors, assuring continuity in an era of rapid change.
Thanks for that beautiful cultural report there, Ambo Gladys. Meanwhile, in Bali subdivision in the northwest region of the country, the group of young people are turning creativity into opportunity, learning how to make beats and fascinators in order to generate income. Now, the training equally included aspects of human rights and gender. Our Northwest Chief Correspondent, Annie Collins, sends this report.
These youths, about 30 of them in Bali subdivision in the northwest region of Cameroon, have been trained on the production of beads and fascinators. It is part of activities to mark the 25th edition of the International Youth Day this Tuesday, August 12, 2025, by a group of legal practitioners under the banner of the Chifo Siri Foundation.
We are actually training youths to be well-formed, well-trained, and to tackle future problems that our community might be facing in the nearest future. And presently, we are also training youths that will not only be dependent on parents, but we are also training youths that are going to train further youth, and we are going to have a global market tomorrow and reduce our dependency rates.
With these beats that we are learning now, we can use them to to sell in the market and gain our own money for our personal use. And another thing is that we use all these things in the market because normally they are in our country now. We need to be self-employed because there are lack of jobs.
But what explains the romance between the 4-year-old Chifo Siri Human Rights Oriented Foundation and the manufacture of beads and other necklaces by youths of the 7 to 30-year age brackets?
To acquire beads is not really expensive. So we wanted something that every youth can easily afford. And if you look at it, we have made it in such a way that it's going to be sustainable. So the ones we are training now will later on train other batches. In that light, we'll see that we'll have many youths that are not actually idle.
These trainees were encouraged to be trustworthy so as to attract pre-financing of their projects. They are expected to be future trainers for their peers to broaden the production base and help them raise money for themselves as Bali subdivision gradually recovers from the socio-political turmoil.
That is the bank draws the curtain for this edition of the 6:15 with me, Kejang Henry Atime. We thank you for being there with us. Matthew Fango will be coming up with the debrief de l'actualité. From all of us, it's goodbye.